Diddy really screwed up, and I'm not referring to his criminal trial, which has him sitting in prison right now, but it has to do with something that happened right before he got arrested. If you've seen the Netflix documentary about Diddy, The Reckoning, which 50 Cent produced, there's some footage there that had never been seen before. This is a photographer that Diddy hired to follow him around and document his life. That footage ended up going to 50 Cent.
And maybe that's what Snoop went through. I don't know. But let the people know, because it was too early back then. You know, Pac just had died.
So this one night, 50 called me up, and you know they got him on the phone. Man, he was just talking. We was talking about old time shit. You know, sit down with Black Hands, sit down with with Puff Kids, the whole Puff situation, and this documentary that he.
When 50 Cent released his Netflix documentary Sean Combs, The Reckoning, many expected it to focus squarely on Diddy, his rise to power, his influence, and his eventual downfall. Instead, the conversation quickly shifted. Online discussions began turning towards Snoop Dogg, fueled by rumors suggesting that his silence meant pressure, protection, or hidden knowledge tied to what the documentary didn't include. As the talk spread, comments from Gene Deal and others were taken out of context and pushed into far more serious accusations. Old interviews, unclear clips, and recycled audio were repackaged to create dramatic narratives that went far beyond what was actually said. As expected, social media amplified the speculation, raising questions about why Snoop remained quiet, what 50 Cent might know, and whether another major industry reckoning was on the horizon. But once the excitement is stripped away, the situation appears far less explosive, driven more by exaggerated assumptions than verified facts. In this breakdown, we cut through the noise to trace where the claims began, clarify what was truly said, examine what the documentary included and left out, review Snoop Dogg's actual response, and clearly separate what's confirmed, what's been denied, and what remains unproven as the story continues to unfold.
Audio from Suge Knight. It's from his podcast with Dave Mays, and he's speaking on, Tupac and Snoop being cool, and how, after Tupac got killed, Snoop started hanging out with Diddy. And, he also speaks on how, Snoop, he did the Steve Harvey show with Diddy after Tupac got killed. Check this out.
Okay. Let's download right now.
Then you look at the scenario how everybody used Pac to make their stuff famous or make their project better. You got people who use their songs for Pac and tell them how much they love Pac, but they do songs for Puffy. You got Steve Harvey old bit that, this motherfucker telling, well, Pac, according to everybody else, he brings Snoop and Puffy on there and say, these are dudes who's running this in the East Coast, West Coast.
What's up, Snoop?
What's up, huh? Hey, whoa. Wait a minute, fellas here. Hold on. I know all about this East Coast, West Coast rivalry thing here, but we in Chicago now. This rivalry stuff, we gotta stop it, man. We stop that, we stop a lot of this violence.
Yo, Steve, check this, man. All that East Coast, West Coast stuff is a bunch of media hype. It's been my dog from day one, you know what I'm saying? It's all good between me and him. That's my people.
Real, that's what we came in for. We came in and light it up and ride it up. We never used to hand.
Now, Pac, if you love Pac so much, how you with the motherfucker that everybody say got something to do with the first get down that happened to Pac in New York, then the second one.
What you think about Suge comments? And I never asked you this before, but did you have an issue with Snoop hanging out with Diddy after Tupac got killed?
I always felt that was wrong. I'm gonna just keep it real. I'm talking about from that, like now, okay, you know what I mean? I'm 46, Snoop probably early 50s. If he figured out now, he might go by the opinion that, okay, Puffy had nothing to do with Pac. We grown now. If he want to be his friend, no problem. But back then, that was just awkward. You know what I mean? And the reason why it was awkward to me that I never even like it because you knew how Pac felt about this individual. You know what I mean? Even if you don't agree with him, you probably could have said, you know what, I probably ain't gonna come out, publicly with this because until things clear up. So I really know I could be certain that, they didn't have nothing to do with Pac. But it's like, it was no, okay, it is what it is. So that I never really respected that back then.
So you had an issue with it. You didn't like it.
Never really liked it. It just was a strange look because you was Pac boy. You know what I mean? Puffy, you know, it's clear they had some issues with Pac. And Pac died, and all of a sudden you chilling with Puffy. Back then it just, okay, now you can say what you want. You go all grandfathers, I guess. You know what I mean? That's different now. But back then I think it was weird. It was tasteless. You know what I mean? It didn't seem like you really had that much love for Pac. You could have just, you know what I mean? Unless he pressured them or like questioned Puffy, like, yo, what's up with this? What's up with that? Then you could say, you know what I mean?
Even though Snoop Dogg was never named in court documents, indictments, or the federal case that ultimately sent Diddy to prison, his name still began circulating online alongside some of the most serious accusations. That shift wasn't driven by evidence, but by his long history in the music industry, a career that naturally intersected with figures like Diddy, Suge Knight, and other powerful players during one of hip-hop's most volatile eras. After the documentary's release, Gene Deal, a former associate of Diddy, added fuel to the conversation by suggesting in interviews that certain individuals were uneasy because not everything made it into the final cut. That implication alone was enough to spark widespread rumors, with claims that 50 Cent deliberately left out footage, names, or details to avoid triggering a broader industry fallout. Given Snoop's fame and decades-long connections, he quickly became an easy target. Old clips, recycled interviews, and unverified comments were reshared and reframed as supposed evidence. Inside the social media echo chamber, silence was interpreted as guilt, and association was mistaken for involvement. Yet when each claim is examined closely, none point to wrongdoing by Snoop Dogg, only that he occupied the same industry during the same time period as others now under scrutiny.
I believe somebody mentioned that they seen a video with me and the dude Prodigy or one of the dudes from Deep, as if I was with. They don't know the backdrop of that. I went to his hotel room ready to fight. Like, bro, I'll fight everybody in that room one-on-one. Even if I lose, it doesn't matter. The Outlaws was with me. My homie Tiny, the Mexican homie, was with me. I didn't go there and say, let me get in a video with these guys. I went there knocking on their door. Doom, doom, doom. Tell them dudes to come out. What's up with y'all? What's up with you and Pop? You got a problem with Pop? Because we could just fight like man to man, face to face, and then shake hands. That was my approach with them. But when they told me they didn't have no problem, I don't mind being with you. You know what I mean? I don't mind shaking your hand because they told me they had love for Pop. So that's different. You know what I mean? If he come out and say, well, I questioned Puffy about it. I believe that he didn't, he loved Pop. That's my opinion. I can move the way I want to move. So when people try to, I noticed somebody, I think on your page do that, where Napoleon was in the video with Mobb Deep. They don't know how I got in that video with Mobb Deep. You know what I mean? I pulled up on him but I'm the type of person, I never been a bully type of person. You know what I mean? If I talk to a person like a man and they tell me face to face, look, I got love for Pop, I'm comfortable to know if I can look in their eyes and if I believe what they said, I have the right to say, okay, no problem, I believe you. You know what I mean? And maybe that's what Snoop went through. I don't know. But let the people know, because it was too early back then. Pop just had died. You know what I mean? Like, he have the right to say, the reason why I'm rolling with Puffy, I questioned him about my homie. He gave me this answer. So then he did what he had to do. But it just, you know what I mean? I never really agree with that, to be honest. The same way I couldn't be on the stage with him. When they wanted to do that tribute, I just couldn't do it. Like, I really felt in my heart, like,